Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to start chapter 1 exception handling. Now let's see what is the blueprint for this chapter. Recently PU board has announced this blueprint, but it is a tentative, not a confirmed one. So mainly for this topic we are having MCQ 1 question, fill in the blanks 1 question, 3 markers 1 question. So totally we are having 5 marks for this concept. Now, this chapter, you have to focus only on 5 concepts. First one, types of errors, error versus exception, built-in exception, user-defined exception, and exception handlers. Now, let's see one by one. What is the types of error? Before going to the topic, I just want to revise the concept of how your ideally screen will be. When you on the ideally, you will get this type of screen where you can see the shell prompt here. We can call this one as interactive mode, right? And if you want to type the larger program, you have to click file and press new. Then you will get this screen where you will be typing the larger program, right? This screen we can call it as a script mode. I hope everyone revise this concept. So interactive mode and script mode. After typing this program, you have to save your file and you have to run the program and you can see the result in interactive mode, right? So this is, I just want to revise the concept before going to the error. Now let's see what are the types of error we are having. The first one is syntax error. What is the meaning of syntax error? It happens when Python's grammar rules are not followed. What is the meaning of grammar rules? Grammar rules is nothing but the syntax, the way you are supposed to write the program. If you are not following that rule, then it will give you the error. Now let's look at the program here. Here I'm creating the variable as n equal to int of input of enter the number. Now I am asking the user to enter the integer number and to store the value in n variable, right? After that I am doing some calculation. Here what is the error? Here I am opening with 2 bracket, but when I'm closing it with only one bracket. So another bracket I'm not closing it. Then it provides the syntax error. Am I right? So this is called a syntax error. So what is it? Another name for the syntax error is parsing error. This will come in 1 markers we can expect. And what is the example? You can give the example whatever we had discussed now. If you're not closing with 2 bracket, it will provide the error. What is the another example? If you're using the if statement, always you have to use the colon. If you have to mention the condition, after that you have to mention the colon. If you are not using the colon, then also it will provide what? Syntax error. I hope everyone is clear with this. Okay, now let's go with the next type of error. What is the next type of error? It's a logical error. What is a logical error? It happens during the run time and it produces what? Wrong output. So this type of error, you can't see the error message in the screen. Instead of that, your output is not matching with what is required for you. For example, for this program, you are going to find out what? Cube of a number. So cube of a number means a to the power of 3, right? So here I am mentioning a equal to 2 and b equal to a into a. A into a means what? A to the power of square. But what I want to find out? I want to find out cube of a number. But here I am mentioning the calculation as a into a. That is wrong. What you are supposed to mention? You have to mention a into a into a. 3 times you have to mention a. But you have mentioned only 2 times. So that's what you are got the output as 4. That's actually wrong. So this type of error we can call it as logical error. So what is an example? Wrong formula to calculate. Is it correct? So what is that meaning of during the runtime? During the runtime means you won't get any error like a syntax error. Syntax error, before the program run only you will get an error. But logical error, it will happen when you are running the program. In the interactive screen when you are running the program, you will get the error. Is it clear? Now the next one is runtime error. What is a runtime error? Runtime error during the runtime. So here you can see, enter the value of A, I have given 10. Enter the value of B, I have given 0. But here you are getting the error as zero division error, which means you can't divide the number by 0. It will give you the error during the runtime. This is called a runtime. So it happens while the program is running, occurs due to unexpected situation. Here, what is unexpected situation? You can't divide the number by 0. If you divide the number by 0, in mathematics, we can call it as an infinite. But here, it will give you the error as division by 0. Is it clear now? What are the three types of error? Syntax, logical, and runtime. Okay. The next topic is error versus exception. So before going into the topic, I want to give you an example. If you log in into your net banking, you want to do the transaction. So once you start with the transaction, always it will give you the OTP and you have to enter the OTP, right? So after entering the OTP, your system got blank. So as a user, you don't know what is happening, right? That is a one situation. Another situation, again, you have to enter the OTP, you type the OTP and it mentioned that your OTP is wrong. You have to re-enter the OTP, right? So you will be requesting for sending the OTP again. After that, you enter the OTP, you can successfully doing the transaction. So these two situations, the first situation is called an error. You don't know, after entering the correct OTP also, the system got blank. You don't know anything, right, as a user. That we can call it as an error. The second situation, you got the message as your OTP is wrong. So you can request them to send the another OTP and you enter the OTP and your transaction also got success. That situation we call it as an exception, right? So error is you cannot handle it and it is unrecoverable. Some of the errors you can handle it. For example, syntax error. Syntax error you can handle it once if you know the grammatical rule of the program. But exception, you can handle it by using what? Exception handler. Is it clear? So exception you can handle it by using the exception handler. And the next one, system level. What is the meaning of system level? Error will happen during the compilation time. Compilation time means before, if you run the program in the ideally screen, then what happened before going into the interactive mode, there only we got the message as some syntax error, right? That we will call it as a compilation time. So it will happen during the compilation time. What is application level means? It happens during what? Runtime, right? So runtime it happens and it happens in compilation time. What is the example of error? Hardware errors or memory error. Example, if your pen drive got crashed, you can't do anything. That we can call it as a error. What is the example of exception is division by 0. Is it clear everybody? What is the meaning of error versus exception? What is the next topic? Next topic is introduction to exception. What is the meaning of exception? Exceptions are unexpected errors that happen while a program is running, right? For example, when you want to divide a number. So if you're giving the numerator as 10 and denominator as 5, you got the output as what? 2 as an output. But the second time when you run the program, you have mentioned 10 and the second denominator you have given as 0. Now you got an error. You must be questioned why the first time I got the 2 as an answer, the second time you got the error. So that we can call it as an unexpected errors that happen while a program is running, right? They can interrupt the program or cause wrong result if not handled. Is it clear? What are the common example? Division by 0. And another two example I will be discussing with you later. I hope everyone is clear what is the meaning of exception. It happens during the runtime. It will interrupt your program. Okay. And example you have to mention as division by 0. Next topic is built-in versus user-defined exception. What is the meaning of built-in exception? It is a predefined by Python. Already many exceptions are predefined in Python, that we can call it as a built-in exception. What is the meaning of user-defined exception? As a programmer, we have to give our own exception. For example, if you want to withdraw the money and your account balance is only 1000 but you are withdrawing 1500, it will give you the message as the balance is low or insufficient amount. That message as a error, right? It is an exception. That exception you can create by using the custom exception, right? So there are two type of exception you can create. One is a built-in, another one is a user-defined exception. Okay, next topic we are going to see built-in exception. So built-in exception, the first one is a value error. What is the meaning of value error? If we provide wrong value to the right type of data. So we are going to provide what? Wrong value to the right type of data. Let's see with an example. Okay, here I have created n equal to int of input of enter the value. So you are going to receive what value? Integer value from the user. Now I run the program. Now let's see, enter the value. Instead of integer value, if I'm giving the value as a, now you can see what error it throws. It throws the value error. Is it clear now? So this one we can call it as if we provide wrong value to the right type of data. Is it clear now? Now next one is the IO error. What is the meaning of IO error? Input output error. So for example, this type of error we are going to discuss detailedly in next chapter, but I will try to give you a simple explanation. Okay, when you're trying to read or write any operation by using the Python program, you want to read some file, text file from by using the Python program, but that file only is not existing, that type you will get a IO error. For example, you can see I am creating a variable file and I am opening the file. What file I'm opening? Test1.txt file. That is a txt file. But the text file only is not there in your desktop or in your folder. Then it will give you as IO error. Is it clear now? You are trying to read some file, but the file only is not existing. That time it will give what? IO error. Is it clear? The next type is type error. What is the meaning of type error? If we provide the value to the incorrect data type. So don't get confused with value error and type error. Value error, you are going to give wrong value to the right type of data. But here you are providing the value to the incorrect data type. Let's see with an example. Now I am giving a equal to 10. Now b equal to, I am using the single quotation I am mentioning as 9. Now c equal to a plus b. Now print of c. Now I'll run the program here. I just do the command line of this statement. Now you can see here type error. Unsupported operand type for int and string. You are trying to do the calculation of 10 and 9. You are trying to do the addition. That will not be supported. So that we can call it as a type error. Is it clear? You are providing the value to the incorrect data type. You are supposed to give what? Correct data type as an integer. The next one is a keyboard interrupt error. What is the meaning of it? If the user accidentally pressed Ctrl C while executing a program, it would interrupt the normal flow. Let's see. I make this statement as a command. And I'll remove this. Now n, I'm receiving one value. After that n1 equal to int of input of enter the value. So I am supposed to receive how many values? 2 values. Now I run the program. Now I am giving one value. Enter the value as 9. Instead of pressing enter, I am pressing here Ctrl C. Now you got the error as keyboard interrupt error. Is it clear now? So if user accidentally press Ctrl C when you are executing the program, it will give you the keyboard interrupt error. What is the next error? Is import error. What is the meaning of import error? When the interpreter cannot find the module in the Python library. For example, last year you must have learned math module, statistic module, all this module. If you are mentioning import, M-A-T-H is a math spelling. Instead of M-A-T-H, if you are mentioning M-A-A-T-H, it will give you the error as import error. The spelling is wrong. Interpreter couldn't find that spelling in the Python library. Next one is a EOF error. Again, it is related to the file concept. Okay. What is the meaning of EOF error? Is end of file error. If you try to read the content from the file after reaching the end of the line, that time it will provide what? End of error, end of file error. The best example is a binary file. So binary file, if you try to read it, what it will happen? You can't identify where the end of the file it reached. The interpreter couldn't identify the end of the file there because there is no such delimiter. What is the meaning of delimiter? In text file, each line, each line ends with what? Every line the spaces will be there. So once it reaches the spaces, the end of the file you can identify. But in binary file, you can't identify any of the delimiter. So it will provide the error. I will show you the example. Don't look into the complete example. This line only you can see. This complete example we are going to see in the next chapter. So you are trying to open binary file. The binary file name is tryb.dat. Dat is binary file extension. And RB means I am opening in the reading mode. What actually the content will be there in the binary file by using the Python program. I run the program now. Now you can see the thing. Whatever the content are available in the binary file, it display the result. After that, you got the error as EOF error, ran out of input. So this we can give an example of EOF error. Is it clear, everyone? EOF error, the example you can mention, when you try to read a binary file, there is no such delimiter. It will provide a EOF error. Is it clear? Now, what is the meaning of zero division by error? Many examples we have seen. When we are dividing a number by 0, it will provide what? Zero division error. What is the meaning of index error? If we try to access the index which is out of range. Now let's see the example. Now I'll try to open, one second. I'll try to L equal to list I'm going to create 1, 2, 3. Now I'm giving L of, if I want to access the value 1, how can you access L of 0? But if I'm trying to access L of 4, I'm giving here print of L of 4. What it will happen? I'll make it as this one as a command line. Now I'll run the program. You can get what? Index error. List index out of range because there is no such, the 4 elements are present here, right? We are having 0 index, 1 index and 2 index. There is no index of 4. So it will give you an error as index error. Is it clear, everyone? The next one is a name error. What is the meaning of frame error? Raised when a local or global variable name is not defined. I hope everyone remember what is the meaning of local or global variable. Local variable are variable which will be there inside the function, and global variable, it will not be there inside the function. Okay. Now let's see that example. I'm giving here a equal to 5, b equal to 10 and c equal to a plus b. Okay, now I'm mentioning print of d. Is there any d is mentioning here? No. Now let's see what it provides. It is giving what? Name error. D is not defined. Is it clear now? What is the meaning of name error? Next one is the indentation error. Indentation error after colon. If we mention if condition, for loop, while loop, after mentioning the colon, the next line will be the indentation. Indentation means one tab space. Then if you're not maintaining the indentation, it will give you the indentation error. Is it clear? The next one is the overflow error. What is the meaning of overflow error? If we try to store more data for the data type which has a limited memory space. Let's see an example. I'm importing the math module and I'm trying to calculate math dot exponent of 1000. It will give you the overflow math ranges. If you're trying to calculate exponential of 1000, it will give you the overflow error. Okay, and also if you try to store more value, exponent value in the list, then also it will give you the error as overflow error. I hope everyone is clear with the concept. What are the built-in exception? One second. Yeah. Okay, the next concept is rise and assert statement. These two concepts are very important. What is the meaning of it? The rise is manually trigger an exception. So till now we had discussed what? Built-in exception. But when you want to rise exception manually, that time you have to use what? Rise. This is a statement and R should be small letter. So rise is nothing but manually trigger an exception. How it will work? If the condition is true, the program will continue. Otherwise, it rise an exception. And what is the syntax? Rise, you have to mention the exception name. Exception name is where we had discussed a lot of built-in exception. From that, you have to mention any exception name. If you don't know the exception name, you can just mention rise exception. Is it clear? And in the bracket, you have to mention the optional argument. What is the meaning of optional argument? Is you are going to give some messages. So the messages will be helpful for the user. Is it clear? Now let's see the example. Age equal to int of input of enter your age. You are going to receive the age from the user. If age is less than 0, then you are raising the exception as value error. Age cannot be negative. This is a message. You are giving the argument. Is it clear? Now print your ages. You are printing the age. Now I am giving the three situation. Now the first age I am giving as 5. Right? Now it will check the condition. 5 is less than or equal to 0. Yes, it is less than 0. The condition is false. Then the rise this statement will not be executing. Your age is age. It will give as an answer as your age is 5. Right? What is the next situation? I am giving you the value as minus 10. Now minus 10 is less than 0. The result is true. Now it will give you the error as value error, and the message also will be coming age cannot be negative. Now let's see the example. I have given here the program. Enter the age. I'm giving us 10. The output as your age is 10. Next time I'm giving the input as minus 10, 19. Okay. Now you will get the error as value error. And what is the error it has mentioned? The message also has come. Age cannot be negative. Now do you understand how the rise statement will work? Okay. Now the next one is the assert statement. Assert statement is completely opposite of rise. It tests an expression and rise assertion error if the condition is false. Remember this. This is very important. Rise statement, if the condition is true, then rise exception will arise. But assert statement, if the condition is false only, the assert statement will arise. Okay. What is the syntax? Assert expression and you have to mention the argument. Here directly you can mention it. For example, number equal to int of input of enter the number. Assert number is greater than 0. If the number is greater than 0, then this is a positive number will execute. Otherwise, if the condition is false, number should be positive. You are sending the message here. Okay. Now here in rise statement I have mentioned it is a manually trigger exception. What is it meaning? I am using the if condition explicitly. You are using the if condition explicitly to check the condition. That is what it is, a manually trigger an exception. But here in assertion, you are not mentioning any if condition. Directly by using the assert statement, you are checking the condition. Is it clear? Now let's see the example. I'm using the same example here. Only one changes you can do it here. Age, I'm mentioning here input of enter the age. I'm not using the if condition here. Here directly I mentioned assert. Assert is age is greater than 0, because assert statement, when it will work, if the condition is false. Okay. Now I'm giving the value here. Enter the age. I'm giving us 10. Your age is 10. Now in age is -9, you will get the assert age cannot be negative. Don't get confused. Here I am mentioning if age is less than 0, then only your condition will be true. Here I have to mention what? Age is greater than 0. Don't get confused. Here don't mention less than 0. So this is the main difference you have to remember between rise and assert. Okay, the next topic is exception handling, which means we are going to see exception handler. Before going to that exception handler, what are the importance of exception handling? Okay, now the first point, the program can continue to run smoothly by handling errors and displaying helpful message to the user. This is very important point. So displaying helpful message to the user. So we had discussed two situations, like one situation, you got the OTP, you entered the OTP, the screen got blank. You don't know what is happening, right? Another situation, you got the message, the useful message, like your OTP, incorrect OTP. You got the message so that you are requesting the OTP. So this displaying helpful message for the user to rectify their mistake and requesting them, right? So this is called displaying helpful message to the user. The next one, Python has different type of exception. So you can create a specific handler for each one to effectively manage error. So we had discussed so many built-in exception. So if you want to mention all the exception, you have to use the exception handler for each built-in exception separately, right? And the next one, by separating the main code and exception handling with error checking code, the program is easier to read and maintain. For example, if you are preparing a program which consists of mixed, one program, one certain piece of function, you know this particular piece of code will have no error. So that code you can create one function, and inside that function you can mention whatever the error-free code. Another piece of code you may think may give you the error. So that time you have to use the exception handler to write the code. Okay, so you can differentiate between the main code and the exception handling code. Next, Python remember exactly where the error took place, allowing you to quickly locate and fix the issue. It will give you, because it is an interpreter language, it will give you which line you will have an error. You can handle both built-in exception and user-defined exception. Is it clear, everyone? What are the importance of exception handling? The next topic is steps of exception handling. So these are the steps it is going to happen behind the screen. Okay. First one, an error encountered in a method. Method is nothing but function. So in case in your code, in a function, you're creating a function. Inside the function, if there is an error is occurred, what actually the interpreter will do? It will create an object. Object is nothing but some variable you can consider. It will create an object. After creating an object, the exception is raised. What is the meaning of it? It will give you the message, okay, there is a error in that function. That is called exception. It is raising the exception. So these two, we can call it as throwing an exception. Okay. After throwing an exception, the exception, that interpreter, the runtime system will search for exception handler. Okay. Is there any exception handler is there in the current function to handle the error? If there is an exception handler, then what it will happen? It will execute the code and catching the exception. In case there is no exception handler are available in the particular function, then it will do the call stack method, which means it will do the call stack method to check if there is any Other function will have the exception handler. I will explain you what is the meaning of call stack with a small example. For example, you are creating a three function here, right? What is the meaning of def? You want to create a function means you have to mention def as a keyword, and a is a function name. Inside the function, you are calling the b function. Inside the b function, you are calling the c function. Again, the c function, there is a error code. Now, what it will happen? The Python interpreter will start with this. So, this is a stack. What is the meaning of stack? Is the way you are storing the value. Okay, the stack concept anyway, detailedly we are going to learn in third chapter. So the memory location, it was going to store like this. Okay, first one a you are calling b, so this is storing below. After that b it is calling c, and c only you are having an error. So in case of the exception, interpreter couldn't find any exception handler in this function, it is going reverse order to check in each function, right? Each function, is there any exception handler to handle the error? This one we can call it as a call stack. It is going in the reverse order to check the exception handler. Is it clear now? So that is what it is happening here. If there is an exception handler in the current function, it will handle the exception. Otherwise, it will call the call stack and check the exception. If nothing is finding out, the program will terminate. If there is a exception handler, it will catch the exception. Is it clear now? What is the steps of exception handling? Next one is the exception handler. What are the exception handlers are there in Python to handle the exception? Okay, so when you understand this complete code, then the remaining part will be very easy. Each one try to understand separately. Now, what is the meaning of try block? Try block, you have to write certain piece of code which may or may not give a error. Okay, so the try block always will have a code which may or may not give you the error. What is the except block? In case if there is a error in the try block, then only the except block will run. It will catch the error. So the try block will raise the error, except block will catch the error. Is it clear? So except block execute the code when there is an exception in the try block. What is the meaning of else? Else block, no exception. It is an optional. You can give else block or without else block also the try and except block will work. Okay. So else block, what no exception means, it will run the code. In case if your code having try except and else block means try block doesn't have any error, then except block will not work. Directly it will come to else block and it will work. Okay. And what is the meaning of finally blockers? Always run the code. If you have an exception also, if you don't have exception also, it will work. Is it clear now? You have to understand each one separately. Then the remaining question will be completely easy. Okay. Now what is the question? Explain try except block with syntax and example. In Python, exceptions are errors that occurs where? During the program execution. If an exception happens, the program stops unless we handle it properly. To handle exception, we use what? Try and except block. This is called what? Exception handler. The try block contains the code where an error might happen. The except block catches and handles the error if it occurs. Is it clear now? So what is the syntax? Try, you have to mention the colon and make sure that everything will there be the small letter. Code that might cause an error, you have to follow the indentation here. Except exception type. Exception type means you can mention what type of error is. Then code to handle the error. Now what is the example? I am going to take a division by 0 example which is very easy. So try block, I am using the colon here. A equal to int of input of enter the value of A. B also I am receiving the value of B. And C equal to A by B. Print of C. So print of C also I am mentioning where? In try block. In except block I am mentioning 0 division error. Make sure that you have to use all these are capital and there is no space in between. And print what? You are giving the message, useful message to the user. Error cannot divide by 0. Now what it will happen? The first situation I am giving the value as what? 10 and B as 5. So what it will come? C equal to A by B. So 10 by 5 is what? Print of C. It will give the answer as 2. So the code is working correctly. So the except block will not run. Okay. And the second situation, if I'm giving 10 and 0, now this statement will execute. C equal to what? 10 by 0. It writes the error. Where it will go? It will go here. Except 0 division error as found. So error cannot be divided by 0. This message will be printing. Is it clear now how the try and except block will work? Now, what is a multiple except block? As I told you, you can give multiple except block to handle the multiple exception. Okay, to handle multiple exception, we can use try with multiple except block. Okay, the try block, again the code where the error might happen. Each except block catches and handle the each error separately. Now this is the same syntax, you have to use it. Instead of except exception type 1 you can mention, type 2 you can mention, till type n. Okay, the same previous question and this question, only you have to add these two, that's it. And what is the example here? The same example of division by 0, and where I am making the changes is compared to previous example and this, till here it is same. But here I am giving one more except called value error. Print only integer should be entered. Okay, so what it will happen in case if I'm giving the value as 10 and here I am giving the value as a, that time what it will happen, it will go to this error, value error, because I'm giving here as a string. So only integer should be entered. Is it clear now? Okay. Now what is the next question? Explain try except else clause with syntax and example. So till now we discuss only try and except. Now I am going to add what? Else. Else block, when it will work? When there is no error in try block, then only the else block will run, right? There is no error in try block, then else block will work. Now what changes you have to do the programmers, I'll tell you. Here A and B, that print C, you are going to mention it in the else. Okay, so in previous example the print C you have mentioned here only, but where I shifted now, I shifted to else block here. That one changes only you can do, remaining everything is same, right? Now if I'm giving you an example 10 and 5, what it will happen? C equal to 10 by 5. So where it will go? It will go directly to the else block and print the result is 2. Okay, is it clear now? Now the next one is a finally clause. Finally clause, what I told you, whether you are getting the error or if you're not getting the error, the program will run. The finally block will work. So here you can see the example, A and B the same, and print of C also I have mentioned here, and again I am giving here. So this statement, if you don't want, you can just leave it. C equal to A by B, then directly what you can do, except value error, invalid number, division by 0 error, this one, and else print result C. Then finally what you have mentioned, print program over. What it will work now, one situation 10 and 5, right? Now C equal to A by B. So which block will work now? It will go to else block. The result is true. Then 2 and print program over. This statement also will be executing. Is it clear now? So the result is for this particular situation, the result is 2 program over. The 2 statement will be executing. The next situation I am giving 10 and 0. Now which block will execute? This block will execute. Your result as error cannot divide by 0 also will execute. Program over also will execute. So this 2 statement will be executing. So that's what the finally block. Whether you are getting the error or if you are not getting the error, the finally block will execute. This is the third situation I am giving 10 and A. Now let's see what is the output. Invalid number and program over. Is it clear now? And another concept is recovering. Again, you are re-raising the error. For example, I am giving the message here as, I am not mentioning here 10 and I am giving the value as here. Okay, I am giving the value as 5 and here print result C. I am mentioning this instead of C, I am giving D. What is this type of error? This is called name error. But is there any exceptions are there to handle the error? There is no exceptions are there to handle the error. Then what it will happen? It will print the result as program over. Then it will re-raise the error because there is no exception handler to handle the name error. So it will print program over and it rewrites the error. Is it clear now? I hope everyone understood the concept. Okay, if you have any question, please post your question in the comment section. And thank you so much. Soon I will upload the second chapter.